All right, everyone, it is 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started for the sake of time. So hello and welcome to FSU Chats, hosted by New Student and Family Programs. My name is Jared Logan, and I serve as one of our assistant directors here in New Student and Family Programs. So the purpose of our FSU Chats is to inform families on important aspects of student life, provide support for families around topics that students sometimes experience challenges, and answer questions, of course. But before we get too far, we want to say congratulations. You and your student have made it. Going to college is not easy at all, and is definitely something to be proud of. And also, we're glad that you are here. Families play a critical role in the student experience, and we're here to help you along the way. And that's what these chats are for, to help provide some insight for you all. New Student and Family Programs is committed to facilitating a welcoming and inclusive transition to Florida State for both students and families. Beyond new NOLA orientation, New Student and Family Programs host signature programs such as FSU Birthday, Ask a NOLA, and First Day Photos. In addition to the Family Connections e-newsletter, FSU Chats, which you are a part of, Notes to Your NOLs. If you've not seen that on social media already, we have put that out. And then our coffee and conversations and much more. So I mentioned the Family Connections e-newsletter, and this will keep you informed and connected throughout the year. Make sure you signed up to receive the e-newsletter to learn more about upcoming events and important dates, ways to support your student, scholarships and leadership opportunities on campus, and even emergency notifications. You will see the link there, and we'll also can drop that in the chat later as we go throughout our time together. The next thing is make sure that you are following us on social media. So we want to make sure that, there we go. We want to make sure that you all are staying connected with us via social media. We are, you can find us on all social media platforms at FSU NSFP. That is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We even have a TikTok, as well as our YouTube channel. So please make sure you are following us so that you stay connected, so that you stay up to date on the information that we're providing to you. You saw that I mentioned the Ask a NOLA session that we put on, as well as I talked about our FSU chats. You will see here our FSU chats that are coming up. We do have we have two next week, actually. One is fraternity and sorority life. The next being University Health Services. The one on the 10th is on Tuesday, and then the one on the 12th is on a Thursday as well. They are both from 6 to 7 p.m., similar to this one. And we will also have another one on August 19th. This is Ask Your OLs. So we call it our Ask the Experts kind of panel, but it's you talking to some of our orientation leaders and getting to ask them questions. We do host two of these. One will be done in English, and then the other will be done in Spanish as well. So families have the opportunity to attend one or the other. I also mentioned Ask a NOLA. So Ask a NOLA is an amazing event that we put on, and it helps students find their classes on the first day of school. So students can stop by one of the 11 Ask a NOLA locations across campus to get directions to their classes, ask general questions about Florida State, and just to meet people. These take place on the first 2 days of classes. So classes start on August 23rd. So you will see Ask a NOLA locations across campus on the 23rd and the 24th, that Monday and Tuesday. And those will be from 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, that's just a chance for your students to get some directions, meet some of our amazing campus partners, and following the next piece, your first day photos. So New Student Family Programs alongside Ask a NOLA does first day photos also on the 23rd and 24th of August. These take place from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we invite your students to come by our table and take photos. We have some really cool signs, whether it be, it'd be a new NOLA, whether it be that this is your first day of your first year, your sophomore year, junior year, senior year, wherever it may be. We do have those signs, and we definitely want to make sure your students are taking those photos and commemorating the milestone that is their FSU experience. So again, New Student Family Programs is located on Landis Green for that. Also, if students do their photo and they tag our social media, which is FSU NSFP on social media, with their picture, they could win an I Bleed Garnet and Gold t-shirts. We definitely want to make sure your students get signed up for that. Lastly, what I want to share with you all before we pass over to our panelists is about Welcome FSU. So Welcome FSU is our Welcome Week programming. It's a series of events and programs, again, that serves as the official welcome for all Florida State students. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of events going on, and the events take place starting on August 16th through August 27th. So make sure that students are checking out, make sure you and your students are checking out the website at welcome.fsu.edu. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to our panelists for them to share a little bit more about getting involved.
All right, well, I think I'm up first. So as I get my screen ready to share, we'll get you all caught up on campus recreation. Let's see, there is the one I need. Yep, there we go. All right, so good evening, everyone. I'm David Peters, Senior Associate Director here in Campus Recreation, talking about involvement opportunities today. So glad to have Jacqueline and Aaron to talk about other ways to get involved here in just a bit. I'm an FSU alum from the programs of meteorology, which is a great major here, communications and sport administration. It's a whole slew of different majors, but I think I could just occupy every seat in the 6 p.m. newscast on your local news. So if you feel like you're listening to a TV weatherman today, well, I trained for that in my days here at Florida State. But I'm in Campus Rec now and excited to share some ways in which your students can be engaged in our different programs and all the ways they want to. I know each of your students is going to want to be engaged in a different way, whether that's in fitness alone, maybe just coming for a workout, being part of a group fitness class where they work out with others, or part of a team in Intramural Sports. We have outdoor adventures too. So between fitness, sports, and outdoor adventures, there's a number of different options that are available for students. And we're going to say the word free quite a bit. And free really means no additional charge. It is part of the activity and service fee that students pay with tuition. And so we are supported through SGA allocation, which means that most of the things we talk about today in recreation, and I think you'll hear throughout today's session, are no additional charge, which makes it great for students to, as you can see on the screen here, find what moves you. That's what we say in our area. We want people to find what gets them going and gets them active. And I think you'll see some great examples today. We'll keep an eye on the Q&A in the chat. And so I know Jared and also Brianne, who are with us from New Student and Family Programs, will keep those going, and we'll look at those in a little bit as well, probably towards the end of today's session. All right, so this is the quick 10-minute tour of Campus Rec so that you can see what's going on, because we, again, have a lot happening here, including fitness, sports, and outdoors. And so we'll start with our fitness section, and that includes the Dr. Bobby E. Leach Student Recreation Center, our main fitness center on campus. If you have taken a campus tour, I am sure you have walked by it and looked in it, but it's not hard to find right here in the heart of campus, and includes all kinds of different fitness opportunities, from places to just lift weights to play on our sport courts. We've got racquetball and basketball. We have an indoor track, which on a day like today, when it's either rainy or 95 degrees, is a great place to come in and enjoy a jog. Plenty of elliptical equipment, cardio, you name it. It's just a fitness center, the place you would want to come in and get a good workout going. And it's not just a place to come in and use, but we also can come in and use the pool, because we have our aquatic center there at the Leach Center as well, which includes not only an Olympic-sized pool, so 50 yards, not 50 meters, but 50 yards, and plenty of lanes, which our swimming and diving team is using on occasion, the varsity squad, but we also use it just for some general swimming. Or also other water activities. We do have a spa and a sauna and a steam room, all of that available as well. Again, free, come on in and enjoy those opportunities for students. We also do a number of different courses. So we teach swim lessons, as well as do lifeguard certifications, CPR and first aid. We do scuba in the pool as well. So a bunch of opportunities there through our aquatics program. And again, that is in the Leach Recreation Center. Fitness also involves a number of different opportunities for people to get more comfortable with fitness. I know when I came to school here at Florida State, I was not a workout person. And so we recognize that not every student is into that, but we have fitness coaches who, just like they sound, coach people through getting that start into fitness, help them walk through the gym and find pieces of equipment, help them design a program so they know what a good workout might look like, and answer some good questions. They go through national certification to be able to do that sort of job, as well as personal trainers who are also nationally certified to not only coach them through, but then coach them while they do their activities. So fitness coaches give them a plan. Personal trainers, I guess, strongly encourage you to get a good workout in. That's their goal there. But those services are both available, free to try. So at least that first session on each of those is going to be free for our students to, again, get a better workout in when they come into the Leach Center. We do a lot of group fitness too. So whether that's step classes or any kind of cardio workout, we have a lot of yoga and Pilates and spinning, which is indoor cycling. All of those classes free for students right here in our Leach Center, also offered in various spaces around campus, but mostly here at the Leach. So a good way to get a workout in with some friends. I know I enjoy the indoor cycling myself, so that's a great workout for 45 minutes. I need someone at the front encouraging me to work out. And so I appreciate that course that's available. And again, free there in the mornings through the evenings. We offer them 7 days a week. A complete schedule is available on our website, campusrec.fsu.edu. We'll drop it in the chat. It's also not a hard one to remember. Again, campusrec.fsu.edu. All right, the Fitness and Movement Clinic is a smaller space. So I mentioned the Leach Center. It's our big fitness center, which all those different opportunities. The Fitness and Movement Clinic is smaller. It's about 10,000 square feet. It's in our Health and Wellness Center. It's almost kind of like a boutique gym, but it doesn't have the heavy weights. It obviously doesn't have a pool or court space. It's really just a good place to go work out. And so some folks feel more comfortable trying their workout out in the FMC first, as we call it, FMC or Fitness and Movement Clinic, which is also free to access with their student ID. Or they can come to the Leach Center after that. But just know this is another space that we have here on campus that's available for students. It's also open daily, but on football game days in particular and during break periods, we keep the FNC open because we know students are going to be around and they want to work out on those days too. All right, so that's the fitness side of the house. Let's talk sports as the Express Tour Campus Rec continues. We have a number of sports facilities on campus, includes our Rec Sportsplex, which is one of the largest facilities in the country. It is 21 sports fields. It's on our Southwest campus. If students participate in sport clubs, Intramural Sports, some of our sports programs, they'll probably have a game out there and they'll see just how massive and great that space is. We're real proud of that. It's a national award winner and it's been here for about 15 years now, but it still feels pretty shiny and new and the grass looks great during this summer. On campus in particular, just a short stroll from our residence halls or from anyone living right on campus are our main campus fields. That's the lower picture there on the lower left, which is right across from the football stadium and plenty of parking if you drive over there next to that parking deck. But it's a great place to come for pickup soccer or ultimate frisbee. We have our Quidditch Club. That's right, Quidditch occurs out there as well. So a number of different things are happening at our main campus fields. We have our West Side courts, which are right on the west side of campus, as the name suggests, that has basketball, beach volleyball, and a fitness court. And in the upper right there, you can see a picture of our outdoor fitness court. So folks can enjoy the outdoor air and get a workout in there at our fitness court. And we also do some programs there too. So we lead some classes in the outdoor space there at the West Side courts. All right, let's talk Intramural Sports, which is up next. That's just Parks and Rec for college students. It's teams of FSU students against other teams of FSU students in the games they like to play. So basketball, soccer, volleyball, but we do play kickball and dodgeball and flag football and all kinds of crazy things. Cornhole, among others that have been on our schedule. Sand volleyball is also very popular in addition to indoor volleyball. These sports are available for students to form their own teams, sign up, and they play usually once a week. The season is 4, 5, 6 weeks long, so it's not a huge commitment, but it's a great time. And at the end, they are going after the Intramural Championship t-shirt, which is coveted among people who are participating in our program. But even if they don't get that t-shirt, we hope they have a good time because Intramurals are free again. So it's a great way to play. But Intramurals, you got to plan ahead for. So we'll certainly have a schedule on our website for when each season is. And we encourage you to point your students there so you can see when to sign up. We have free agent groups or ways that you can connect with others if they don't know enough people to form their own team. But some teams are just 3 people big. They 3-on-3 basketball, for example. So we're hopeful we can get people connected in that. A number of other special events through Intramurals. Up there in the upper right-hand corner, you see Battleship. That is life-size Battleship, where 4 people get in a canoe and they try to sink each other, just like the board game Battleship, except they just sink to the bottom of the pool. We have lifeguards there to make sure everyone's okay, but it's just a fun way to be engaged in our pool and enjoy a different way to be engaged. There's one of those teams with their championship t-shirts. And we also do some special events at our facilities as well, including things like Relay for Life, which is something that I think both Jacqueline and Aaron are associated with in their areas. So it's one of the many different philanthropies we have going on campus that occurs out at our space. So Intramurals, as I mentioned, short season, once a week, not a big deal. It's free. Sport clubs is the place to go for students who are into their sport and want to play more year round. Crew is there. You can see a photo. Again, I mentioned we have ultimate frisbee. There's a picture there on the bottom with sport club members from all of our different clubs, about 40, rugby, lacrosse, water polo, equestrian. We have the horses. Don't bring your own. A number of different opportunities. Action shooting, Quidditch, as I've mentioned. Those are clubs that are student run. They have a student president, vice president. They plan their practices, but they do. Many of them travel and compete with regional schools at the club level. So this isn't varsity stuff. They plan their own trips. They go to a regional tournament. I might play that school that wears the orange and blue down in that other. We don't even mention their name, but we play them in sport clubs among others around the Southeast. So a great way to be involved at the next level. Intramurals, recreational, for every talent level, sport clubs is a different level up. All right. Trying to talk fast as you can tell, but that keeps everybody awake on these calls. The last stop on the tour is outdoors. We are blessed here at Florida State to have a lakefront property on Lake Bradford on the southwest portion of campus. It's near the airport, so you can walk to it, although it'd be quite the stroll. But we have plenty of parking out there, so it's just a short drive, about 4 miles from campus, and it is a beautiful place. It's like its own little state park. It's not an official state park, but it feels like it. We have a waterfront with a beachy area. For those of you who have South Beach thoughts there. It's not South Beach. It's but it's beachy. It's got sand and it's mostly white sand. I mean, take a look at that picture. You can enjoy the sand. You can enjoy swimming. We have kayaking, canoeing that is free. Beach volleyball that happens out there. We have sailing as well. Just a great place to go to get away. It is free as well. I told you we like the price of free. So students come out, show their ID, and enjoy the outdoor space that we have at our Res Lakefront Park and Outdoor Center. We also offer outdoor trips, such as we go out into the wilderness. We'll take a trip, a couple of vans full of students out to do some kayaking on a local lake for a day, or we'll do overnight trips for camping or do some whitewater rafting up in Tennessee. So those are not free, but they are as cheap as we can make them because we are thinking about students and their wallets in mind. They are a great ways to meet new people and take an extended experience in the outdoors. You can learn all about our outdoor trips as well, back to campusrec.fsu.edu. The last stop on the tour is to say we do have jobs. So if your students are looking for a part-time job on our campus, not that Jacqueline and Aaron don't have opportunities, but we have 700 students who work for us every year. We are the largest employer of students on campus, and they're part-time jobs. So they can come and work for us for a couple shifts a week, get a little spending cash for their time here and some great career development skills. Students can join us as a freshman, and when they are still with us 4 years later, many of them have moved up the ladder to be facility supervisors and student directors and get some great skills that they can take with them after they graduate Florida State and can complement their degree, or maybe it doesn't. We have folks from all different areas. I think it complements their career skills, but from biology majors to criminology majors to exercise science majors, they all work for us in a variety of different ways. And so we encourage you to, if you're encouraging your student to look for a job, there are plenty on campus, including us in Campus Rec. And hey, we're a pretty fun place to work because most of the folks who come to Campus Rec are there to have a good time. And so that helps our atmosphere be pretty positive. campusrec.fsu.edu is our address. At FSU Campus Rec is the link. I think I went over, but I didn't get too many of those looks. So if we have more questions, I'll be here later. But there's a lot going on, and we hope to see your students in Campus Rec when they come to campus in a few weeks. Jacqueline, are you up next? I feel like you're next on the big tour. It is student organizations and involvement. So let me stop my stuff and get you going as we hear more about what's happening to be engaged.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'll go ahead and get our PowerPoint up. So I'm going to be talking today about our student engagement team, which encompasses our student orgs and involvement. We have three main areas: our ASCU Student Life Center, our Student Government Association, and our student orgs and involvement. With ASCU Student Life Center, we have our ASLC Gaming, the Student Life Cinema, where we tend to show big picture movies, sometimes some free early showings before they hit main theaters. In our student life events and promotions with our Student Government Association, we have our Congress of Graduate Students, our SGA Executive Branch, Senate, Student Publications, and some other orgs we will talk about in just a second. And then our student org and involvement area, we have the big event, Dance Marathon, Garden and Gold Tailgate, Homecoming, Involvement Fair, Market Wednesday, and Relay for Life. So within our ASLC area, our movies and gaming, as Dave said earlier, free on-campus films you can see in our state-of-the-art movie theater, as well as free on-campus gaming at our Alienware and console-ready cyber cafe. All programs and promotions for Student Life Cinema, gaming, and our Student Life events are created by the students. So it's a lot of opportunities for them to go ahead and get involved early on, and we support them as staff to make sure these things go well and go awesome. In our Student Government Association area, our students, as Dave mentioned earlier, allocate $13.79 million of activity and service fee money. So if your students are interested in being able to have a say in where that money goes, it goes from supporting our new student union that's coming soon to our campus rec department and many other organizations and departments on campus. Additionally, we have other ways for first years and transfers to get involved with our Freshman Transfer Leadership Institute, Student Senate, our executive branch, which includes our student body president, vice president, and exec in their cabinet, our bureaus, and then our 7 identity-based agencies. Additionally, our Office of SGA Accounting offers a financial literacy certification to help our students learn how to allocate that money properly per Florida regulations and our student body statutes and codes. So that's also something really awesome they can do, take an exam, learn, and add on to that as student leaders on campus. They can use it in various other organizations too. And then finally, in our student orgs and involvement area, we have campus traditions. Each year, our student-run homecoming council plans our biggest and long-standing campus traditions, which is homecoming. And in this fall, it will be happening October 18th through 24th. You can attend any events during that week, or you can get involved with helping plan those events by joining Spirit Force. Additionally, in our student orgs and involvement area, we have Dance Marathon and Relay for Life. Both of these organizations are consistently recognized as one of our top collegiate fundraising programs, and they support our Children's Miracle Network and the American Cancer Society. And to wrap us up, student engagement offers numerous ways to get involved with students and get connected. We have our Know Central, where all of our registered student organizations are housed, so students can browse through there. There are over 500 registered RSOs every year. We also have the involvement fair coming up the first week of school. You will see that also listed in our Welcome FSU events. And we also have an involvement quiz that students can take to see. It can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, all of the different things we have to get involved. So the quiz is there to help gauge their interest in areas they might want to check out first to see and get their feet wet. And if you have your phone camera out, if you want to, you can scan the code we have here and it will take you directly to a link where you can browse our different websites and see our different organizations and some of the areas I mentioned earlier. Once again, my name is Jacqueline Butts. I work over in our Student Governance and Advocacy Department, and it was great being with you all today. Now we'll throw it to Aaron.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacqueline. I'm going to do the same thing and continue our tour around our campus space. So I am Dr. Erin Sylvester-Philpott. I work in the Center for Leadership and Social Change on campus. And that is a huge mouthful of a name, and we know that. So we colloquially on campus are called the Center. Super convenient because geographically we are kind of in the hub of campus near the Den and near some of our other main student affairs buildings, where you can find our right next to the FMC that Dave mentioned, the Health Center, the ASCII Student Life Center that Jacqueline just noted, and our Multicultural Engagement Center are all right in the same kind of hub together. But one of the really beneficial things about being called the Center is not just about the geography. It is that is really true to what we do with students, is that we help them to find who they are at their core and what motivates them or drives them to make change in the world. So the way we do that is varied. So we have, oh, hang on, my slide. I need to click. Lots of things. We have a team of about 20 different folks that work in the center, full-time and graduate student staff. We come from a variety of different disciplines and backgrounds because the nature of the work that we do in helping students figure out who they are, figure out how they want to get engaged in our local Tallahassee community or in their home communities, wherever they're joining us from, and to learn more about the ways that they can create change. That requires a multi-directional approach, right? That requires a little bit of knowledge from a lot of different spaces. And so our staff represents that as well. The nature of what we do is three-pronged. So all of the programs that we host are going to either help students to explore identity development, who they are and what they want to make of this big, scary thing called life. Or we help them to work on their leadership learning. And so we look at leadership as non-positional. They don't have to have a name tag. They don't have to be elected to an office. It is the way in which they want to show up in a space that can make them leaders. And we teach them how to discover some of their leadership skills and how to apply them in different contexts. And then community engagement. And so in high school, you might have heard your students referring to this as community service, especially if they're working towards their Bright Futures credits. We like the term community engagement because it denotes that we're going into the community and we're partnering with members of the community who are already doing a lot of the work that our students are going to be engaged in. We're not doing something at folks, we're working alongside them. And so these three areas are what we really help students to explore. And a lot of our programs fall into multiple of these, right? So when we really pull back and look at our work, we don't just have a leadership program or a community service program. We have things at those intersections, right? We're always going to try to help students to explore who you are when you show up in a community, or who you are when you're leading others, who you are in relationships to folks. And so that kind of stuff is really the cool things that we get to take students on a journey that they discover a whole lot about who they are and what they want to do in the world. So we are kind of at an interesting point in our center history. One of the things that we jokingly say we are so comfortable with is change. So hence our little delta change symbol here. And that we're going through a restructuring and reorganization where we're kind of splitting into two functions within the same office. So we're still the center, still who we are, still at our core, but we're splitting into a service and leadership side of the house and a diversity, equity, and inclusion side of the house. And that is one, to make sure that our missions are very focused and that we're being very clear about the work that we're doing, but it's also to make sure that all of our students who value their cultural backgrounds and their social identities know that they have a space on campus, know that we are a space for diversity, equity, and inclusion, so they can find celebration spaces, safe spaces to ask questions, and comfortable spaces in which they have permission to be uncomfortable in their learning. We should know by now that we never make slides where you have to click to advance the things. Sorry about that. When your students join us in the fall, please make sure that they look for the center. Our names and Core and Rise are really new, and we're still trying to get word out there, but the center is really what folks are going to know us about on campus. And that picture at the beginning of the t-shirts, that is so us. A lot of our programs are branded with brightly colored t-shirts, and that's how students really find groups and identity and community with each other. So some of our big programs, one of my personal favorites is Estanco. That is the Seminole Creek word that is exchanged in welcome. And so that is our welcome mixer, where we help students to learn more about the university's relationships to the Seminole Tribe of Florida. We also help them to connect to other social groups that might share some of their social or cultural identities on campus. And we help with like that first scary week of college. We just give them a moment to say, yeah, just meet a new friend. Like, here's somebody that you have can share names, you can swap phone numbers, you can follow each other on all the socials. It's a great way for them to meet folks. We also have our Multicultural Leadership Summit. This occurs every year in January. It is fully student-led and student-facilitated, where students are coming together to teach each other about things that they know about their social identities, about social justice and empowerment, and about building coalitions around social causes. We have our social change peer educators. Oh, so sorry. Where students are teaching their peers about facilitating and creating social change through dialogue. So if they're sitting down and having conversations with each other. These applications occur every year in March, and students that are selected right now will likely be going out to a lot of the first year courses and first year programs. And so a lot of your students will likely meet some of our peer educators, but if there's something that they love, absolutely something that we hope that they will stick around and join us again in future years. We also have our social agencies where students can join groups of students that share social identities with them. And so here's our list of our current agencies that we host right now. If for some reason your student has a special social identity that they don't see represented here, please let us know. We are open to creating new agencies all the time. Our Jewish Student Union and our Asian American Student Union are some of our newest ones that have been created. But there's also tons of RSOs and student orgs outside of these agencies. These are just ones that are funded through SGA dollars and ones that kind of lump big groups together. In our leadership side of the house, we have the service leadership seminar that happens the first week before classes. Applications have already closed, but if any of your students are looking to do a 3-day long service leadership experience where they're doing community service and learning about leadership, we still have slots available. And so you can absolutely reach out to us on our website, thecenter.fsu.edu, and students that might be joining us that first week, we want to give them something to do. And so we would love to have them come and do service and learn about leadership with us. We also have our Women's Leadership Institute, where we have a space that is specifically for women all weekend long, all the way down to like our catering staff and our facilitators, no guys allowed the whole weekend, where we help to nurture and empower our young women to see themselves as leaders and to undo some of those messages that society might be telling them otherwise. It's a really great weekend that occurs in October. Applications open the first week of classes and close September 20th. And we are so looking forward to our Women's Leadership Institute this year. Weekend long, totally free, great experience. Then for folks that really like the campus rec stuff that Dave mentioned, we have a leadership program that occurs fully in the outdoors. And so we take students camping, and I say it that way because they stay in a cabin, but a lot of our students, especially those that come from cities, think that they're in the middle of nowhere and they've never seen so many stars in their entire life. And so we take them outdoors, we stay at the retreat at the lake the whole weekend long, and they learn about leadership through outdoor experiences. On our community engagement side of the house, for students that are looking for service-based programs, we have trips that go out into the Tallahassee community through Engage TLH every single day of the week. They meet at the center on campus. We provide the transportation so they don't have to worry about moving their car, finding parking, or navigating the bus system. We take them directly to agencies and nonprofit groups that we already have an existing relationship with, and we help the community in whatever way they need most. Students can sign up through our app, the Engage TLH app, and get updates for when trips have been opened or when new trips might be launching, because a lot of this is ebbs and flows based on the community need. We also are the main civic hub of civic engagement on campus. And so we host our FSU Votes Voting Coalition, where we are a nonpartisan, we are in fact what we call a cross-partisan group that encourages students to register to vote, to get knowledgeable about the issues that are going to be on their ballot. And then we help facilitate getting them to the polls, even if that means helping them to get an absentee ballot so they can still vote from wherever they're registered at home. Our Florida State Alternative Break program, anytime that FSU is on a break from classes, so over the summer, on weekends, or on spring break, which is our most popular time, we send students on extended service experiences. And so during COVID, they've just been going a little bit outside of Tallahassee, just so that it's a one-day kind of trip. But spring break, they go for a whole week and they live with other students, they do collaborative meals, and they connect with a community agency in a different city. And so it's a really cool way for them to do some extended amounts of service and to meet new students, meet new folks. And then finally, Peace Jam. A lot of you may have heard of Peace Jam because it's very popular in high schools, but this is where we have relationships with Nobel Peace Prize laureates. And those laureates come and work directly with our youth in the K-12 system and our college students to talk about some of their global transformations or plans around social justice and social responsibility. This could be anything from keeping waters clean to clean air, to women's rights, to racial justice. I mean, you name it, there's always different topics that folks find as their kind of passion issue. But Peace Jam is a really great way for students to get involved and to hear from Nobel laureates, right? Who gets to say that in college they just sat down and had dinner with someone who's won a Nobel Prize? If you want your students to connect with us, or if you would like to follow us and connect with us, there's a couple of different ways. In real life, this is our building that we mentioned is in kind of that center hub of campus. We're on the right side of this Dunlap Success building, or what we call the DSC. Online, thecenter.fsu.edu. And then of course, you can scan any one of these codes to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or to go directly to our website. You can email my colleague, Paige Rentz. I am not Paige, if you were paying attention at the beginning. But you are also welcome to email anyone on our website. We have full bios of folks if you're looking to get involved or interested in a specific thing. And of course, tell your students to just stop by. We have tons of just casual conversations, and so the center is a really great place for folks to hang out. So I think now I'm kicking it back to Jared and Allison to see if we have questions.
All right. Thank you so much, David, Jacqueline, and Aaron, for sharing about your areas and sharing a little bit more about how our students can get involved. You would have seen in the chat, we've been letting you all know if you do have questions for any of our panelists, please feel free to put those in the Q&A. While we do that, I'm going to allow one of our orientation leaders who has joined us to introduce herself. She's been kind of dropping some links for you in the chat, and we want to make sure we recognize her as well. So Brianne, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Brianne. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a second-year student majoring in international affairs from Miami, Florida. And something I'm involved in on campus is the Caribbean Student Association. And I think my biggest tip for you or your students when getting involved on campus is to definitely check out social media. Social media, a lot of accounts, sometimes you might miss it, or sometimes North Central might not always be updated, but a lot of organizations on campus definitely connect to students through social media. So I would definitely recommend checking them out through there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brianne. All right. So again, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A. We will be happy to answer them. So I see a question here and I'll be able to answer this. And if any of my colleagues want to jump in as well. The question is, will there be information about all these programs and places during Welcome Week for students? So for all information about Welcome FSU, we want you all to check out, you and your students to check out welcome.fsu.edu. That's where you will see the list of events and things that are happening during that time. And again, Welcome FSU takes place August 16th through August 27th. There's a lot of great events happening and we're excited to see them happen. Of course, I mentioned Ask a Knoll, so those are some things as well that you'll be able to see. Also, Allison dropped in the chat there for you all, some suggestions for you to follow on social media so you can all kind of get started and share with your students as well.
Jared, while we wait for other people to brainstorm on their questions, Welcome Week is awesome on campus, and I think it's a great way to try some new things out. At the same time, if they don't try it in Welcome Week, it's not they've missed it. Stuff goes on year round, and so coming over to the gym and trying that in November is absolutely fine. Or coming out to our lakefront park in March is great. And like Aaron and Jacqueline have said, so many different things that you can try. So we encourage Welcome Week. By all means, please check that out. But at the same time, know that they don't miss out. There's all kinds of opportunities year round. And we expect students, quite honestly, to wait and try things when they're comfortable.
Perfect. Thank you so much, David. So we do have a question here. It is directed about student organization. So New Knoll Central, is this where students and families can look up the list of organizations?
Yes. Every year we have re-recognition and recognition for new student orgs that want to start and student orgs that were available in the previous year, and every year it's updated at the beginning of the year, and most of those organizations are also at the involvement fair in the beginning of the school year.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
I see Linda's question in there, which is an intramural question in the chat. So I'll jump in on that. And I said plan ahead, mainly because intramurals is one of those things that we do have some registration deadlines. And so it's really just important to check those out. We have seasons that start throughout the year. So we'll have some seasons that kick off in September, but more sports start in October and November. And so knowing when those registrations come up allows students to get their teams going and start contacting friends to ask them, do you want to be in the soccer league on my team? Let's make sure we're ready to go and register by the deadline. So that's a little different than some other programs like the gym where you can just walk in, or you can just come out to our lakefront park, or you can play pickup soccer on the fields and don't have to register. But Intramural is just based on any league that you're probably involved with a sports league. Just those registration deadlines are something we like to get in front of students. Some will fill. We will have 300 teams in our flag football league and 250 teams in our soccer league, and that happens in January and February, which is super cold. Well, super cold is a relative term. It's chilly in January and February, but students will come out at that time as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Please continue to submit questions. We are happy to answer them for you all. So the question is, will the Leach be open for visitation during family weekend?
Absolutely. So on family weekend, we are not open on Saturday during game day, and you'll see why, because we are very close to the football stadium. And so it just doesn't work from a workout and find a parking spot on game day. However, we are open Friday and Sunday during family weekend, and family members are invited to join their student to come over and partake in the activities here. Our lakefront park will also host a special event on Sunday as part of family weekend as well. So there's a lot going on through Campus Rec. So try us out in all kinds of different ways.
Thank you, David. So we have another question. The question is, so why is involvement so important for first year students? And I want if each of our panelists want to kind of answer from their own perspective.
I can go first. There are so many reasons. It's like, where do we start? Essentially, we know that students, if it's their first time away from school, because we also do have students that sometimes do some classes at community colleges, and it's a little bit different, but that first time away from home, just really being engaged and involved and finding community, we see involvement being really important with that, especially early on with them doing well in classes. When you have a social life and you're able to engage and find different ways to engage with others and people that can help you grow, we see students tend to stick and stay within school and do well in classes. And just in general, it's a domino effect for everything, essentially.
Yeah, I fully agree that we just like, I know on my to-do list, if I have 10 things to do, I'm doing nothing. But if I have 20 things to do, I'm going to do 25, right? And so the busyness of helping students to find things to do to fill their time helps them to do better in the classroom, and helps them to stay engaged academically, which we love. But I also know that being involved on campus not only gives them friends and helps them to make memories, but it helps to fill out the things that they will need once they leave here, right? So we, of course, want to make college enjoyable. We want it to be the best experience of their life. And there's an end goal in mind. We want them to leave with a degree or 2 or 3 and to be employable. And some of those experiences that happen outside the classroom that we host are the things that we know employers are looking for. And they're the things that are going to be the most marketable and transferable for them, no matter where they go after they leave Florida State.
They haven't left much to say other than, I think, and this goes to a question that we have here, is that you have to find your place in your community, and it's trial and error. So they're going to find some activities that they thought were going to be awesome, or maybe things they did in high school and they just don't necessarily translate in the same experience. And at the same time, there are going to be some opportunities that they have never heard of before. In 500, 600 student organizations, that is a lot of different activities and interests that we have on campus, in addition to the ones that Aaron and the center are running or that Recreation is offering. So I think that it's part of the pace there. The question here was how many organizations are right? Whatever fits in the schedule. I mean, we have people who are, I would call, over-involved. I think, as Aaron said, sometimes you can end up on 25 things, and time management is one of the skills that we hope that students will learn. And so finding that right niche, because an involvement in one club can be just as rich as being involved in 5, depending on the involvement level they want. We'd love to see them in Recreation, but we know that's not everybody's place. But that's why we have things from the center and things from Jacqueline's office and other things that aren't even mentioned today, whether that's fraternity and sorority life and a host of other opportunities. So something I think is what we hope for. And then it leads to good academic outcomes in the end.
Perfect. Thank you all. So I have a little follow-up to that question. Is, what do I do if my student is not necessarily getting out there and meeting folks?
You can start us on that one, unless you want it, Dave. So I think the most important thing, and I will preface by saying I am a parent and he can't talk yet. And so I'm not in the exact situation that you all are as family members sending students away to school. But I think the most important thing is to help your students to just try, right? They don't have to commit to anything. They don't have to go and join a student org and be the president the next week. They don't have to get it right the first time. Like Dave was saying, they might try stuff on and say, nope, this doesn't fit. I need something different. But just to get out and try, I think it is helpful, because most of the time they will get out and try 1 or 2 things, and half of them go really, really well. And they're like, oh, wow, this was actually fun. This was enjoyable. This is something that I can do again. But helping encourage them to just try it once, I think is a good first step. But don't push too hard, right? Because we know that if we push too hard, they want to do exactly the opposite of what we say as family members.
I mentioned during my time that we've tried to remove the financial barrier to a lot of these opportunities on our campus. I think that's very important. So sometimes it's a reminder of, hey, it's free, go try this. And that might just be to go to our Club Down Under here on campus and enjoy something from our student union. It just, here's a show, and you might meet some people at the show and then become connected. And it's not just these productions we're putting on, but we have a number of student volunteer and paid student positions to run the club or to book acts for campus. So there's just so many other ways that I think Also, student jobs will lead to opportunities and experiences on campus. So not always is it to join a club or do something free, but we have a lot of free options. And so I guess reminding and pointing in that direction is a helpful tip.
I'm going to insert just ever so slightly. Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Hughes, and I work in new student and family programs. And I think oftentimes we hear from family members specifically really concerned that their students are experiencing homesickness and how they can assist in this regard. And first, I just want to say that homesickness is totally natural. It is something that every student probably experiences at some point in time, whether it's just a matter of missing mom or a sibling or dad or something along those lines, or it's just a missing of familiarity and the normalcy that of the routine that they used to live on a regular basis. And so I think it's important to reemphasize finding a new routine, breaking out of their apartment or their residence hall room, and even their social circle if they're coming to Florida State with friends from high school. I think that's a really important piece. It's a great opportunity. I think Jacqueline mentioned earlier to like broaden your bubble a little bit and get to know folks. And so know that it's natural, and also don't feel like you have to rush to fix it all the time. A lot of the times, I know when I was in undergrad, I regularly called my mom, and my mom was there and eager and wanting to fix it before I could even get off the phone. And one instance where I called her and she was like, "I'll get in the car, I'll come right now." And she literally came right then. And then at that very moment, I was out with other friends grabbing dinner because the issue that I was experiencing really wasn't that serious. I just wanted to tell mom about it. And so just remembering some of those pieces and letting your student kind of figure that out, but being really encouraging along the way, and also know when to ask for help. We've got a lot of resources on campus. And if you don't know where to start, knowing that new student and family programs is a great starting point, but also so are all these wonderful folks on this call tonight, as well as a ton of others. So that's my little spiel. Thank you for letting me step in and say that.
No, thank you so much, Allison, and thank everyone else for answering that question. So we want a little bit of a student perspective. So Brianne, I have a question for you. So what worked for you as a student, and then how did you get involved?
So definitely, like I mentioned earlier, checking out social media was my biggest thing. Something about FSU that I've come to learn is that you don't know about what you don't know. So things are always popping up on my social media pages, and I would be like, oh my gosh, like this looks so interesting. Let me look into it and let me apply to it. So definitely that. And then I guess getting a little bit more like personal, also recognizing that my own individual experiences are like what I make of them and not comparing them with everybody else's. When you get to FSU, it might be really easy to like go ahead and see what like some of your friends from high school are doing, or like some of the friends that you just made or your roommates, and being able to be like, oh, like they're so involved in things, why am I not? And I think it's really important to recognize that what you put into your time at FSU is exactly what you're going to get out of it. And if you're making the effort to join involvements, you're making the effort to look at different organizations on campus, then just know that like whatever your niche is, you're going to find it for sure on campus. Like it might take more time than others, but just know that when you do find it and you find that community, it's going to be worthwhile. So try to be patient with it and try to not compare your experiences with other people's, and definitely like put yourself out there and be open to wanting to be involved on campus.
Thank you so much, Brianne. All right, so our next question here is, do most clubs or like organizations have dues attached to them, or should students, or should you be preparing for that?
That is a great question. It may be something different for campus rec. I know for a lot of our registered student organizations, a caveat to being able to receive money from student government is you cannot charge mandatory dues. So they may have dues, but it should not be mandatory if they are receiving money from Student Government Association for their RSO.
Yes, exactly. From the campus rec side of the house there. Certainly, we want to be able to support our mini clubs with the funding that's available from SGA. And so Jacqueline mentioned, I think, a financial training, for example. So when they get funding, they also have to use it correctly. And so our sport clubs as well, if they want to travel, they also do a lot of fundraising, as you might imagine, whether that is, some do a lot of, some do none, because they're meeting and they're having conversation as a student organization, and they don't need much in the way of funding at all, but just a space to get together, and they can get that for free on campus. So It does vary from club to club. Another club question over there from John was about sport clubs, and you will be able to meet many of our club leaders at both recruitment, sport club recruitment night, but the involvement fair is first. So the involvement fair is the first week of classes. Jacqueline, I know you mentioned that. That is the first Tuesday of classes. Landis Green, I believe, is the location for that. So that is just tables and leaders and people and energy over getting involved in a club. And that is a free thing in the evening that night. We are going to cross our fingers and hope for no rain. And then we also have a sport club recruitment night, which is focused solely on sport clubs. It'll happen a couple of days later. And as Brianne has already said, social media, if someone is looking for a club, quite honestly, a quick social media search will find them and they can connect and tell them when a tryout or a practice or a meeting or an info session is going to happen. But a lot of people are getting going here in August and September.
Perfect. Thank you all for answering those questions for us. Again, please feel free to continue to put questions in. We are happy to answer them. I think my next question would be just thinking about, would you all say that there's enough organizations for all students? So thinking that like students have different interests and things like that, can students create their own organizations? What does that look like for that process for students?
I'll jump in again. Yes, there are a lot. We have, even through our Student Government Association, there are some academic affairs organizations related to your colleges that SJ also funds, so you can get money that way for those organizations. And as I mentioned before, we have a recognition process through our Student Orgs and Involvement office. So essentially, if an org would like to become a recognized organization, there are some steps they go through. They go through the hazing prevention, our financial certification. They go to a RSO one-on-one training, and in that training, they can ask questions, and we give them really good information about some foundational pieces to starting their RSO, how they can go about getting money throughout the year, whether it's through SGA, and what that looks like with our SGA accounting team.
Awesome. So similar to kind of what Brianne did, I kind of want to give each one of our panelists a chance to say, what would you say is your biggest piece of advice for an incoming student, whether that be a first year student, any of our transfer students, or even returning students? What is your biggest piece of advice as we enter into fall 2021?
I can go. So I forgot to mention, I am also a double alum of FSU. And so significantly enjoyed my undergraduate experience at Florida State. And so my biggest piece of advice for your students is to not be afraid to say yes and know that it's okay to say no. So you saying yes to the, let's go, to this movie on the green, or let's go to late night pancakes that are at 2 a.m, or, let's go carve a pumpkin, like saying yes to some of those silly things that they might not think they would enjoy, or that they weren't planning to, or that they didn't maybe have in their schedule, or even if they might be thinking, no, I need to work on the paper right now, like just saying yes to some of the spontaneous and fun ways to meet people and make memories. But knowing that it's okay to say no. And so a lot of our students, I think, feel that pressure to constantly do all the things, have all the buttons, all the t-shirts, all the name tags. And it's okay for them to just say, yeah, I don't need another org, or I need to spend this weekend to go home to see my family, or I want to spend Friday night just by myself in my bed watching Netflix. And that is totally okay too. So having them not be afraid that they're going to miss something just because they say no, taking that time to themselves.
I think I'll tag along with Aaron there to say that, we have so many students who come with an academic focus, and everything they want to do is very connected to their academics or to putting it on their resume. And I hope students will consider, as some of the examples you have heard from, of course, I'm coming from recreation, opportunities just to get connected on campus that are outside of that. They're going to learn things that are going to benefit their career through these different opportunities. Sometimes they just don't know it because they're looking to check a box of, I can't wait to put this in my resume, or I can't wait to be the president's organization. And I think those sort of involvements for me, as someone who came with an academic focus when I came here so long ago, but when I came, I was more thinking about those things and plugging myself into some other things I just didn't think. It was good to do things that weren't totally in that way. Now, there are great ways to be connected in academics and also in organizations and to do all of that. So I don't want to shy away from that. And maybe some students need that sort of encouragement, but variety maybe is my tip.
Yeah, I retweet. I would also add two parts, one for transfer students, and it also goes into first year students. Give yourself grace. The transfer student shock is very real. Yes, you have done college courses, but it's definitely different being at another university. You're learning the culture of that. And then the same with first years, you're learning the culture of a new environment. You're learning more about yourself. There's so many things happening all at the same time. It can be a lot in finding that balance. So definitely learning to give yourself some grace and reminding your students to do that throughout this time.
Awesome. Thank you all. And I think I will, my piece that I will add to that is yes to everything they said. Like Jacqueline said, retweet to what our panelists have shared. I'd also say for our continuing students that are coming back, family members, if you have a student that's continuing or with us, same thing for them. Try new things. Variety is the spice of life. Please do that. If it's something that you got involved with your first year or your second year and maybe it didn't stick, that's okay. Continue to try different things. There are multiple organizations, multiple spaces and places for students to get involved on campus. Also, family members, there's tons of spaces for you all to get involved as well. We want to hear from you all. We want to engage with you all. New Student Family Programs is a great place to start with that, but there are other locations on campus that are here to support you all and make sure that you all are getting involved as you all go through your own transition as well. So we do have another question here, and it is, so it's more pointed around like what the fall is going to look like. So the question is, in June, FSU say they return to pre-pandemic living with in-person classes, activities, etc. Does it still look like that to be the case? And I'll have Allison answer that.
Yeah, great question. So obviously we're in a little bit of an ever-changing landscape right now as we are monitoring the Delta variant and what that looks like and subsequent variants that come from COVID-19. So our main goal is always to keep students, faculty, and staff safe and the community of Tallahassee safe, because we have an obligation there too. But currently where we are is definitely moving forward with that plan to be as close to a pre-pandemic level of involvement and academic learning as possible, while also making sure that our students, faculty, staff, and community are staying safe. So I think what you'll see around campus is very similar to classes happening at a little bit larger of capacities, more traditional to pre-COVID. We're encouraging students to wear masks if they so choose. So definitely have a conversation with your student about that and what that looks like and how they can stay safe in the way that makes most sense for them and your family in general. And then also you might see a little bit more of outdoor events, which in Tallahassee, we're very lucky with a good climate, minus a little bit of rain, maybe sometimes a little bit too much rain in Dave's category. So for your meteorologist friends, maybe if they can coax some good weather for us coming up. But you'll see more and more of those events maybe be outside to just make sure that we're mitigating as much as we can with that. Definitely encouraging your students to stay safe and make responsible decisions related to that. But if they do have any questions, I encourage them always to stay connected to the news sources provided by the university, coronavirus.fsu.edu, I believe. We'll also drop in the chat the link to the Return to Student Life Plan, because I think that is constantly still being updated on a regular basis. And Jared mentioned a little bit earlier, sometimes students get emails and they don't always read the emails. And we know that that is very true. There's some important updates that go out on a pretty regular basis that your students will be getting to their MyFSU email. And so on the topic of making sure and giving some advice, it's to encourage your student to regularly check their email. And then for y'all, as Jared mentioned, signing up for the Family Connection e-newsletter so we can give that information out to you as well, because that's really a great way for you to stay connected, whether it's COVID-19 related, just general, what's happening on campus, what can your student get involved with, or if maybe there's a weather event like a hurricane or something that we've been known to have every once in a while, we're going to keep you up to date on what's happening and how we're keeping your students safe throughout that process. So you'll see a lot of what it was like in pre-pandemic, but probably still some things there used to mitigate. And please know that some of those things may change and ebb and flow over time, and we'll try to communicate that as best as possible. And if you ever do have any questions, please feel free to pick up the phone and just ask. And if we don't know, we're happy to look into that a little bit more and get you an answer. Or maybe you've thought of something that we haven't, and we'll kind of go back and figure out the best plan of action from there. So that's a great question, and I appreciate whoever asked that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Allison. So with that being said, folks, that is the end of today's FSU chat. I want to thank David, Jacqueline, Allison, Aaron, and Brianne for being with us today to share some insight, answer some questions. Just some wrap-up reminders. We will continue to have FSU chats over the next couple of weeks. Next week, as I shared, there are two. There's one next Tuesday with Fraternity and Sorority Life, and then one next Thursday with University Health Services, and then the following week will be our Ask Your OLs or your orientation leaders, where you'll get to hear from some amazing student leaders such as Brianne about their experience and things that they can share with you all as family members. Again, please stay connected via social media, not just with New Student Family Programs, but with the rest of our panelists' social medias as well. You saw those on their presentations. Again, thank you so much. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to answer questions and to provide some more insight. We hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll hear from you all soon and see you soon. Bye, everyone.